I'll wait a couple more minutes and then
What time is it? Yeah. Maybe like 3 more minutes.
Throughout the place, so that way if you want to talk to my name is Mr.
call to order.
What's that?
What's the call to order?
Oh, just saying meeting started.
Oh,
That's, yeah.
where you like pushed it button. Yeah, okay. Yeah. Volume pass around and everything. Because I know they got the USB, just a regular microphone. But with that one, yeah. And then just pass it around. But that one, then you got, people sit it down, and you got that phone or yours. And you push the button. It's like a stand. No, it's just a square. Oh. I got you. Like the three-way calling kind of thing. Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah, that'd be way better. Yeah, I think.
okay, we'll get started. Welcome to the Mega Alley Chapter 506 Air Force Association meeting. I call this meeting to order. I have General Imbum having the opening remarks, sir.
I just want to say that it's a real honor and treat to serve all of you, fair people, in this beautiful country. And although the general public might not appreciate it, you owe this great day to men and women like yourselves. So I really appreciate that, and it's a real honor and treat for me to serve you. I will do my best to make sure that your stay here in Korea is enjoyable, and do my best to make it so. So thank you. And what's the Air Force call? I'm an Army guy, so
Airback.
anyway, yeah. So thank you again.
Thank you, General Imbum. I'll do a quick roll call for chapter members. Executive Secretary, sorry.
Here.
VP of Finance.
That one's vacant.
Okay. VP of Government Relations. U.S. Executive Council Advisor.
Present.
Korean Executive Council Advisor. District 1 President.
That's vacant.
Secretary, District 1 Secretary, myself. Treasurer, District 1 Treasurer.
Here.
VP Aerospace Education. VP of Communications. VP Membership. VP Community Partners. VP of Airmen and Family Programs. VP Awards and Recognition.
Awards recognition.
VP of Leadership and Development, and VP of Veterans Affairs.
Present.
Okay, let's see. So we're gonna start off with the.
We're going to start off with the
Elections.
elections. Does everyone have a packet with all the names? Who needs one? Did you? Oh, you're not. Yeah. You over here? Everyone got one? Yeah, and you can't vote. Yeah. Okay. We have several positions that are up Each person will be able to give a 1-minute speech on why they want to, why they're running for that position. And then after everyone has heard the speech, they can, if it's more than one, they could pick the name, and then just tear off the paper. I'll go around, I'll count them. So first one up is going to be the president position. Mr. Nickel?
I got the floor.
Floor is yours.
Real quick, everybody, my name is Jeremy Nickel. A little bit about myself, retired senior master sergeant, 24 years in the Air Force. Retired here out of Osan. I'm a contractor currently with the 694th ISS. Been doing that for just over a year now. So I've been in Korea about 4.5 years now for this tour. So I'm like probably 10, 12 years total. I am currently the regional president for the Pacific of AFA, but we've been having some issues with getting chapter presidents and stuff like that, so I'm going to step down and try to fill in the chapter role, so I'm going to focus my attention on this chapter if I can, if you guys will accept me. Thank you.
Is there anybody else that wants to run for president position that hasn't submitted an application? Okay, well, in that case, is there any nays against Mr. Nickel taking on president position?
No. I want you to say no.
I want it recorded at Sergeant Dale said nay.
What's that?
I said when it recorded at Sergeant Dale said nay.
Cool. Well, Mr. Nickel, looks like you have the, congratulations, you have the president position. Okay, the next.
For a new regional president now?
So the next position is actually our vice president of finance. They're in charge of pretty much each of the district's treasurers. She sent me an email. She was not able to make it today, but just a couple of the highlights on that one. It's for Second Lieutenant Candace Lee. A couple of the highlights from the application was that she's just out of ROTC. She's the current treasurer of the Osan Wings chapter. She's also served for 3 years as a chapter secretary and the treasurer for the Silver Wings, which is the AFROTC, AFA affiliated organization. So she has a lot of experience in managing finances. So she's the only one. Is there anybody else here that wants to run for the vice president of finance position? Okay. Is there any nays against Second Lieutenant Lee taking on that position? In that case, Second Lieutenant Lee is going to be the new vice president of finance. Okay. Moving on is going to be our District 1, Osan District Vice President nominee, Major Sherrod. Floor is yours.
Good afternoon. My name is Major Sherrod. I currently am at 17 Delta, working over in the AOC. I have been in Korea. This is my second tour. First tour up at Yongsan, now down at Osan. So I have been here a little over a year. I plan to stay here until October 2022. So I feel like in the first year of being here, being at the squadron and being interconnected with the wing, I kind of have like a good lay of the land. So if you pick me as your vice president, I plan to work on your bidding with the network connectivities that I have made, the different OSAN wings, groups, partnerships throughout the community with private awards, things like that, to make our Team OSAN family better and proud.
Are there any other nominees for the vice president position? Okay, is there any nays for Major Sherrod taking on the vice president position for this chapter? Okay. In that case, Major Sherrod, congratulations. Okay, and then moving on to our next position is going to be the District 1 Secretary. Since Second Lieutenant Lee is already elected another position, Sergeant Rojas, the floor is yours.
Sir, thank you. Hi everyone, I'm Staff Sergeant Rojas. I'm in the Communications Squadron. I've been here for almost a year. I got to OSA February of last year, so as Major Sharaf said, I understand the way OSA runs a little bit better. I've been able to get myself out there a little bit with the different organizations. And like you said, get the feel of the lay of the land. In terms of for being secretary, I feel like I will be well suited for the position for a couple of reasons. The first one being that I have been involved in other organizations in the past. So I was actually the secretary for AFA for my last base, so at Moody Air Force Base, as well as being the chair for 2 Diversity Day events for 2 different years, etc. Obviously being an ACE, so the Junior Enlisted Council when I was still an airman, and so forth. And then the second reason is I'm actually a knowledge manager, so I'm in the communication squadron, and that's my AFC's 3DOX1. The reason why I feel like that could be a very good asset for this organization is we manage the collaborative, the different collaborative systems. So yes, SharePoint, years, things like that. But at the same time, we are, I'm able to obviously make sure that if we have those tools in place, that the people are getting the word out there, that we have a solid page that people can go to and get all the information for the meetings and things like that. I'm a big planner, and I'm huge in organization, so I felt like secretary was speaking to me as to what I'm good at, as well as it's a good position, I believe, for my rank to fulfill. So hopefully you guys pick me. That's going to be as involved as possible. I will be here until February of next year, so got plenty of time to go here. And I hope to take this opportunity and the experiences here to my next phase, wherever that may be.
Okay, is there any other nominees who want to run for the secretary position? If not, are there any nays? And congratulations, Sergeant Rojas, the secretary. Next, we'll move on to the appointed positions. We have several nominees for those appointed positions. Appointed positions are selected by the president or rolls up to the Pacific Special Assistant. So, Mr. Nickel, the first one that we have on the list is the Vice President of Aerospace Education. We have 2 nominees. One of those was Major Schrod, who's already been elected. So, Tech Sergeant Lopez, I believe you're here. Would you like to speak?
Sure.
Just a moment.
Alright, good afternoon everybody. I'm Technical Sergeant Lopez. I'm working over at the 51st LRS. I've been here for about 4 months now. I'll be departing to Nellis October. Let's see, I'm really big on aerospace education. Growing up, I wanted to be an astronaut, like every kid, right? And then they're like, oh, you're colorblind, so I can't do that anymore. So that killed my dream there. So I moved on to working on my bachelor's in chemistry, bachelor's in physics. I joined the military, and then I was like, okay, I can't do this. And now I have my bachelor's in mathematics instead. And now I'm working on my master's of data analytics. Let's see, so I kind of understand how, as a child, or as even going back to like elementary and middle school, I understand how important it is for people to have that that say, or kind of like guidance to them of how important STEM really is to us. Not to say that the arts and liberal arts and everything is not good, but it's also very important for us to develop our STEM degrees, especially in our country. Considering how we have, next door we have these really big country that's really big into STEM, right? So I think it's really important for us to develop our youth and kind of guide them towards the future in STEM, so whichever one they might choose. So that was my biggest reason for trying to do this position. Thank you.
Mr. Nickel, do you have any objections to Sergeant Lopez taking on that position?
I have no objections, and as long as the rest of the council has no objections.
Are there any others? Okay, congratulations. Next, we have the District 1 Vice President of Airmen and Family Programs. We have 2 nominees for that, sir. Sergeant Noah Benjamin and Master Sergeant Andrea Smith. I'll speak for Sergeant Benjamin. He's not able to attend today. He says he has no experience with AFA, but he's looking to get out of his comfort zone, looking to get more involved with the base. And he said he's very organized, but his only weakness is he's a little shy. And our other nominee is Master Sergeant Smith, which is currently in quarantine. Would you like to give a few words, ma'am? Did you?
Yeah, she's on the top right. I don't know if she can hear you.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can hear you now, ma'am.
Great. I'm so excited to be with you guys. In quarantine, I haven't seen people. Virtually, I guess. I actually marked like 5 committees down, so whichever one I guess you guys see is there's a need for or whatnot. Basically, a little bit about me. I am a master sergeant. I'm old as dirt. I've been around for ages. Been in the Air Force for 18 years. I've been incredibly involved in private organizations throughout every base that I've been at. I've led organizations. I've been squadron superintendent. I've led base top 3 as the president, been a vice president, been a secretary, ran base events. So I've got a ton of experience with private orgs. I've not been terribly involved in AFA, which I think is unfortunate because I think this is probably one of the biggest, most far-reaching professional organizations that you can get involved in. So I'm looking to definitely get heavily involved within this organization. Whether I'm appointed to a committee or not, I will be involved and I will dedicate a lot of energy to you guys. That's all.
Cool. Mr. Nickel, you have your 2 nominees. Who would you like to take over for that program?
So for the Airmen and Family Readiness Program, I recommend, is it Sergeant Benjamin? Or
It's
Airman?
Staff Sergeant Benjamin.
Staff Sergeant Benjamin. I think as a new up-and-comer, that's a great program to get started in and get familiar with things.
Okay. I will notify him post-meeting.
If there's no objections. from the
Yes,
council.
my fault. Okay. The next,
I was gonna say, I think
Oh, go ahead.
her abilities and probably best use elsewhere.
Mhm.
Correct. I actually have her recommended for a different spot.
Definitely. Okay. Okay, moving on to our next appointed position, we have the District 1 Vice President of Awards and Recognition. We actually had 3 nominees for that. Sergeant Benjamin, which I already spoke of. Master Sergeant Smith, which you just heard from. And then the 3rd nominee was Mr. Robert Olivero. He wasn't able to attend today. I spoke to him earlier. He's got some medical issues today. So the application, some of the highlights on there was that he feels like recognizing individuals on their accomplishments is one of the most awarding things that someone can be received. So I've worked with him in the past. He's in charge of he's in charge of a section. He likes to get his people recognized, making sure that their efforts go unnoticed, as he says on here. He always treats people the same and make sure he keeps highlighting that, getting that recognition, getting people recognized for their hard works and stuff. So your 3 nominees, sir? Sergeant Benjamin, Sergeant Smith, and Mr. Oliver. I'm sorry, Sergeant Benjamin's already elected.
Yeah. So my recommendation to the council for the awards and recognition VP is Mr. Olivero. I have worked with him as well. I know he's very passionate about recognition. That is also being a civilian, and he'll be here long term. That's a position that could greatly benefit from the longevity.
Okay, moving on to our next appointed position. It was actually the Vice President of Communications. We only had 1 nominee for that, which was Major Sherrod, who's already been elected. Is there anybody else here interested in the VP of Communications? Not, we will continue to seek someone for that position. The next position is the Vice President of Community Partners. We only have one nominee for that, and that was Sergeant Holmes. Sergeant Holmes, you're not here, are you? I didn't see you. Okay, some of the highlights on his application is that he is very interested in serving in the VP of Community Partners position. He's been at OSUN since 2016. He's already connected with the off-base community. Feels like his years of being here can bring value to the organization. Same goes for the communities as well. His strengths are leadership and people skills, and his only weakness is time management. So, are there any other nominees for VP of Community Partners? And sir?
I have no objection. I think it's important to have someone that knows the local community and they can bring in the local leaders, community leaders, and business leaders. That's one area that we're kind of lacking with our community partnership program. Most of our stuff seems to be focused up in Seoul, and so we definitely need the help to bring in the local community. I think they'll be a great asset in that area.
Cool. And then the final position, appointed position, is going to be the Vice President of Membership. We had three nominees for that: Sergeant Benjamin, who's already appointed; Major Sherrod, who's already appointed; and Master Sergeant Smith.
My recommendation for that one was hands down Master Sergeant Smith. I can just tell by the application that she would be a great, tremendous asset in our membership area, which is very challenging here in Korea with the rotation and the 1-year tour lengths. So we definitely need someone that's energetic and outgoing.
Okay, congratulations, Master Sergeant Smith. Is there any other objections? Any nays? Okay, congratulations, Master Sergeant Smith.
Thank you, yay.
Cool. Okay, sir, that's all the positions that we have today. We're still continuing to seek position or nominees for the Kunsan district. Once I receive those, then we'll hold a special election for those positions.
If I could, just to clarify also, even though there was a committee and council position blocked at the bottom here, you're not really, competing for those positions. Those are special interest areas. Anybody can participate in those. We just ask that you're a member because those are decision-making councils and committees, so we ask that those be members. As a new officer in the chapter, like for example, every officer should have a highly interested in the budget and finance committee. That's how you're going to advocate for your resources. If you don't show up, you might lose your funds or your events might get cut. So your participation in these councils is voluntary with the exception of some. There are some that you will be the chair or co-chair of. So if you're the VP of membership, you're obviously going to chair the membership committee. But the other ones after that is voluntary. So the committees in one area is something that we've been lacking and we're trying to develop. So I highly recommend that people pick some and try to take an interest into them, and so we can try to develop them a little bit more. That's all I have on that. Thank you.
Sergeant Burks, floor is yours for continuing.
Okay, we'll start off with the financial report. I have Sergeant Metz go over financial report.
Yeah, so I went through our funds and everything like that, and tried to track down where all of our money is. Currently in flip calls, we have $150. Community Bank has $322.97. Navy Federal has $8,370.38. Our Korean Bank has $5,461.47, and all this has been converted to US as of yesterday. And then PayPal, we have $0 in there, so our current combined balance is $14,304.82. Mr. Nickel and I have been doing interviews past couple of days, trying to locate us a CPA or a accountant. There you go. Sorry, to to assist us in doing our taxes. We have taxes that need to be amended from 2018, 2019. And then obviously we have to do our taxes for this past year. So we're looking at hiring one of those two. Is that something that you want to speak on?
We can take a vote on that today if you want.
Okay.
If you want to pitch it.
Yes, sir. So the two individuals that we had, the first individual was Mr. Juan Sanchez. He is a CPA. He actually owns his own company. For him, the annual cost for him to do just our 990 tax form is $1,800, and that's each time that we use him. His monthly review of our accounts, because we use QuickBooks. For him to do that monthly, he charges $125 at an hourly rate. So whenever he does it, he said it'd take him about 2 hours every month to do that. So that'd be $300 a month paying him. And then the initial setup charge is $500, and then that $500 would be a retainer fee also that we would have to pay up front. And then he also notified us that there's an individual named Brent who is a non-CPA. Mr. Juan has done this for 11 years. Mr. Brent has done this for 8 years as being an accountant. And he said Mr. Brent would be our go-to person who would actually be handling our funds and everything, or assisting with them. And that was pretty much their company. The next one was Miss.
I don't remember her last name. First name was Desiree.
Yeah, so Miss Desiree M. I apologize, I didn't get her last name. She is not a CPA, but she does have 25 years of accounting experience. She's extremely familiar with Form 990 long form. So she works with pretty much straight nonprofits, so she's very thorough in understanding of what we need and what we're looking for. Her rates were a lot cheaper. Her monthly rate for her to review our funds is $50 a month. Unless we want her to do it quarterly. Quarterly, it would be $100. She charges $300 to do a new 990 every year. And then for her to do the amendment on the 2018-2019, it'd be $150. So whenever you compare them, Mr. Juan would run us about $5,000 a year if we utilize him monthly. And then Miss Desiree would be around $1,200
I think it was
or $1,400.
1,400 with all the amendments, and then after that it would
Yes.
actually go down to about 12, I think.
Yes. So the initial cost would be $1,400, and then after the amendments, it'd go down to $1,200 a year. So she is much cheaper, and she actually would be able to do some training with myself and then also the VP of Finance to get us spun up on QuickBooks, because I am very new to that. So if y'all have input on that, please let me know. So if you want to vote for Mr. Juan, if you can please raise your hand.
They're both, what, here in Korea?
No, they're both in Texas.
Yes. So
I'm sorry, we tried to find an accountant here in Korea, CPA or anything like that here in Korea. Nobody does it. All of the places that we contacted, they only really do personal taxes. Nothing with corporations or businesses. So none of them know how to do the 990s and things like that. So that's why we reached out through the QuickBooks network and got in touch with these folks here. We actually tried to interview 3, but one of them canceled on us, so we only ended up getting 2.
Alright, so, for Mr. Juan, anybody? Nope. For Miss Desiree? Alright, so, Miss Desiree.
Good call. That was our feeling after the interview too. We were like, that's the one, but we gotta ask you guys too, so.
thing is we're currently working on the budget report for the last July through December. Mr. Nickel and I are going to meet on Saturday to get that completed and turned in. On the 11th of February, I've already sent out the email. I'll be hosting a active for the annual activity report, so I need all officers to show up for that. I'll get all y'all's information from y'all's file, and I'll shoot y'all the email so that way you all know where it's at. It's at building 600, room 122. It's the commander's conference room. And what I'm requesting is for y'all to come. I'll email you the activity plan that we had for last year, and just bring ideas, that we can overcome this COVID, and then have an idea about how much you plan on spending on whatever events you're trying to have or maintain, and that way we can set up our budget plan for the next year.
Cool. All right. So membership and community partners, I didn't get any updates, so I'm just going off by numbers from last month. Total membership is about 74 members plus one total, community partners, I believe. That still stay the same.
I'm sorry, I corrected you to the new numbers. Actually, we're up, I believe 135 was the last number I saw.
Okay.
And then we still have the 5 community partners.
So 135 total memberships, and with 5 community partners. No old business at this time. General new business. We have changes requested by AFA headquarters that have been made to our constitution and bylaws. So at the moment, we're getting it routed through the MSG commander for signatures.
And I can speak on that. I just sent out both the Constitution and bylaws, the newest version, this morning to both the private organization POCs at Kunsan and at Osan. Once they take a look at that and they review it, then they'll route it to their respective MSG commanders, and then I'll get that back and then I'll file that.
And as our new president said, we're going to determine how we can sync up with Kunsan and Korean national members to attend our meetings, either on base and once COVID lifts in the future, to get more meetings together. And as Matt said about the 2021 activity plan, he's hosting a meeting to get that completed as soon as possible. And then Mr. Nichols met with the attorneys and legal review for POA creation that has been started. Let's see. Event calendar, so probably during the meeting on February 11th, we'll be looking to plan April or May the Aerospace Awards Luncheon. This is to recognize donors, students, teachers of the year, present annual our annual plans at the ceremony. I know Mr. Nichols, they didn't do it last year, but the year 2019. It was at an off-base banquet, I believe. And this is to show our appreciation to our donors and get donor money for our organization so we can spread the love. And this is also COVID pending, because but we are really want to try to get this done. But this can be more talked about at the 11th February meeting as well. Let's see what else. So the aerospace education. I saw this registration is now open for Air Force Association 2021 Aero Virtual Aerospace Warfare Symposium. It's being held on the 24th to the 26th of February. So the theme is to accelerate and innovate. Let's see what.
Aaron has permission. So awards and recognition. So the next ALS graduation will be 25th of March. So we usually present a $500 check to the Levitt winner. And also for the CCAF graduation on 21 April, we give a $500 check to the Pittsburgher. Pittsburgher. So that's coming up. So I saw an email from you, Mr. Nickel, about recommending to request Heather Phillips for AFA Teacher of the Year for work with Cyber Patriots. I'm not sure if we tasked anyone to do that yet.
No, so normally that would fall under the VP of Aerospace Education, but because that program is so large, I think we'll probably shift off a lot of the award stuff to the VP of Awards and Recognition and let the aerospace education person focus on the actual education program. So I'll have to task, or give Mr. O, task that to him. It's not due until April, but we need to start it now, coordinating it through the school system and everything. And they have to put together a package, so it takes time.
Grants and scholarships are open for AFA. You can go on the website to search for those scholarships. And we had our new election positions today. Congratulations to everyone that's been appointed. So I'll leave the room for General Inbom. Do you have any closing remarks?
Nothing to add. I just want to give you an update on where we are with the Ministry of Finance getting our status for a nonprofit within the Korean government. So I've already checked with the power of attorney draft. Looks good to me. And as soon as you can get that notarized, I'll start to see if we can get that started working sometime next week. And fingers crossed, hopefully we'll be able to get that status, which will within Korea much easier. So that's where we are. Thank you.
Any other council members have anything else to add?
So for all those newly elected officers, I'll be reaching out with you afterwards to give you the required paperwork so I can get that filed, and then as well as giving you who you're replacing, so that y'all can start syncing up. Your effective dates are going to be starting 1 February next month. So I'm here to assist with the help the transition as well, but I'll be reaching out to each one of y'all post meeting.
If there's nothing else to add, the next meeting will be 18th February at 1400. Meeting is adjourned.
Did you have any?
I just want to, real quick before I leave, I just wanted to add two things. So one, we just recently stood up the Google G Suite as a nonprofit. Before we were kind of sharing one Google account, which I didn't like doing. So now we have a G Suite business platform, and we've assigned every officer their own account. So like he's the district treasurer, d1.treasurer@afamidvalleychapter.org. So every officer is going to have their own account. I can reassign that to, as you guys come in and out, we can reassign that to you, and that'll be yours. The good thing about that is, and we ask that you do all communications through that system that relate to the chapter, because when you leave, the next person comes in, those files stay there. That communication stays there. So there's no lack of, or hopefully not, a loss of continuity due to someone's emails in someone's personal drive or personal email account. It also gives you access to our Google shared drive where we store all of our documents and things like that. The capability to set up like Google Meets if you want to do your committee meetings or anything virtually. You can set up your own Google Meet, organize your own calendar. There's a lot you can do with the system. It's great. I love it. The other thing that we need to do that I haven't done before, and I'm going to try to set up as you go forward before 1 February, I'd like to try to set up maybe a 1-day or 2-day training event where I can go through and give you all a crash course on AFA and your roles. It'll be like a fire hose. And then we can always do individual if you need it. I'm always here to help train anybody on anything at any time. You can ask him, I don't sleep, so don't worry about it. You can always bug me anytime. That's all I have.
Alrighty. There's no other inputs. Meeting is adjourned. Thank you for coming.